is it even
No,
before it gets to that point?
No, it's not. They're basically specifically trying to figure out who might commit murder.
So
right?
This is about murder, not about like mean things on the internet.
Correct.
Okay.
Specifically about murder. So they've sucked in all this information. Apparently, ID information on 500,000 people, and it's things like criminal record, but also mental health, self-harm, all kinds of things.
Country of origin.
Who would allow you to believe it's going to be more likely to commit murder?
See, Roman, that would get you thrown in prison there too, man.
I bet I could build a system just with a few metrics that'll do better than that system.
Obviously, they say this was just in the R&D process, and it's not going to be used in courts. We're just using it for policy, but also possibly like sentencing.
Wasting taxpayers' money, maybe.
Surveillance. These are obviously the concerns.
This sounds like the whole like Patriot laws in the U.S. Giving surveillance and stuff, Patriot Act type stuff.
So I don't understand. So their equivalent to the FBI will have like a database, and it's like Cindy, and we have that like she like what will be in your file?
You would put in your socio-demographic kind of data. Basically, you're trying to build profiles based on sucking in all this information, and then they would put in that information for me and be like, you know what? She's a X risk, level of committing specifically murder, apparently. But of course, once they have the system spun up and is doing what it's doing, they can apply it in any way.
Truly know at this point what is totally predictive of murder? Like what traits in human beings are they just gonna?
We know?
Yeah. I'm saying I don't think we do.
No, well, that's the point. This is the point of this, to try to crunch enough data that the predictions will never be perfect.
So who is the one asking that question to these people? Who's giving the resistance to this?
Who's giving the resistance? Privacy groups that are concerned that it's going to profile or target specific demographics more than others.
Is there a particular party? Is it like conservatives versus labor or?
No, it seems to be more like watchdog groups.
Pen and paper.
Watchdogs. That's a good name for this group that's going to be watching the UK citizens, the watchdogs. Okay, so that's Minority Report. That's what the UK can look forward to. Hey, if it works well in the UK, it'll probably come to the US. Free crime. Trying to find people before they commit the crime. Okay. Jurassic Park. Another dystopian movie that's coming to life. Tiffany?
Well, not quite dinosaurs, but apparently the dire wolves are back. So they're famous from the Game of Thrones series, but they were actual animal. They've been extinct for basically like 12,000 years. So if you saw amid all the tariff memes online, there was also a Time magazine that came out with a picture of what looks like a white wolf and the word extinct crossed out.
And you can hear them howl.
Yeah. So what they did is basically this is a group called Colossal Biosciences, and they have a whole de-extinction project. Like that's their whole thing. And so it's not exactly that they brought them back to life, but what they did is they do gene editing or gene modding. And so they have 3 new puppies, and each of them have traits of the dire wolf. So what they did is they took the DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth of a dire wolf and a 72,000-year-old skull of a dire wolf. So they took like little genes, like DNA genes from it, because you could still get it, I guess. And then they put them into these pups to create them. So they're like dire wolf puppies, but they're still puppies right now. So we'll see if they actually become as big as.
So they're like dire wolf Malamutes. They're like mutts, basically.
Well, they're simulacra of it.
So then they named them, but the names are kind of funny. So they named them Romulus, Remus, and then Khaleesi. So if you know Roman, the Roman Empire, I'm sure you would, Roman. The Roman Empire, the myth goes, they were founded by 2 twins named Romulus and Remus, and they were raised by a she-wolf. So you have those connections. And then you also had, Game of Thrones. So you have George R.R. Martin. He has a picture of him holding one of the puppies. And then one of them is also called Khaleesi.
That's so cute. It can almost make me forget about the horrors beyond our imagination. That's coming down the pipe with us.
Woolly mice.
Yeah, so they've been
the woolly mice.
So there's the woolly mammoth. So they didn't quite bring that one back yet, but they put some of those genes into a little mouse. So they created a woolly mouse.
But they're trying to make their way to the woolly mammoth.
They're like little mice with jerry curls. It's fantastic.
It's very long fur.
Yeah. So what
you're saying is that they like take DNA that they extract from some fossil. They take DNA from like a similar type of animal, and then they like just take that DNA of the animal and like kind of change the parts that are different, and then they implant it into the egg and then like grow a new.
Their whole thing is de-extinction, so that is
So it's
what
100%
they're working to.
So like
what they're trying to get to.
So the dire wolf is like an actual dire wolf with the same DNA as the fossil.
It just has traits.
Oh no, so it's not 100%.
You could never bring it.
They're trying to make it look like it
You
more
would,
than
yeah.
actually be
You're
it.
just taking certain features, phenotype,
Exactly.
right? And you're
Exactly.
trying to do that.
So
Yeah,
what,
trying to
when did
pass
they make,
one
when did
off
they make
as
the
well.
raptor? That's the real question.
Yeah,
I see.
When did they make something cool here? You know.
But then you did have the Jurassic Park page being like, oh, this can't end badly at all. So
I think they obviously did dire wolves because it would get everyone to talk about it,
Yeah,
right?
Game of
Because you can
Thrones.
kill
Like,
the puppies. You can kill the
This is how they
puppies.
can fund their research. Do a few things that the public likes,
Exactly.
and then they'll get
That's
money.
true. If they started with like a T-Rex, it might be the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, alert.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
So I guess right now it's Jurassic Park.
Oh.
All right, so but good. Okay, so next dystopia that we're marching towards, The Matrix. Obviously, you might think, oh, obviously with the rise of AI, they're going to enslave us, right? But how is AI going to enslave us? They don't have physical human bodies. They don't, they can't physically touch you or strangle you or carry you yet. Well, enter everyone's favorite company, Boston Dynamics, the company that rolls out a new video every few months, every maybe half year, and collectively people look at it and go, cool, but dear God, stop what you're doing. They released their new video not too long ago. Here it is. Let's take a look. All right, so you saw those robots, but you might think they're not cute. Nobody would go for those robots being developed. However, take a look at this video. Josh, what was your comment about that cute little dragon?
Well, the thing is, when the robot apocalypse does come, it's not going to be like Terminators, like T-1000s. It's going to be like a cute anime girl.
You're gonna be murdered by a
Like,
Furby.
does like 3 backflips and stabs you or something. You know what I mean? I don't think people realize the horrors of the actual robot apocalypse.
All right.
We're doomed.
With that final thought, thank you so much for joining the program. I was hoping to end on a brighter note. Realistically, no matter what the technology level is, no matter what,
Humankind will win.
humankind, well, yeah, sure, will win, and just spend more time with your family, and I think that's all that really matters, right? You spend your time with your loved ones, and no matter what happens in the outside world. Thank you so much for joining us. If you head on over to Epic TV, we actually have an additional segment where we go into depth on anti-woke movies. So kind of an auxiliary to the dystopian movies. We actually go towards a positive trend where movies might actually be good again. So head on over to epictv.com and check out that other segment. Otherwise, see you next time. Same place, same channel.